One of the most popular questions ever is, how long should I keep the equipment? Hi, my name is Wayne Vose, Profits Unlimited. I've been doing business coaching since 1990 and I've helped contractors all throughout North America. Let's talk about how long to keep equipment. Where's the sweet spot? Should I keep it 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? There's not an answer. There's really not a single answer. Here's the way I want to talk about it though in this video for you guys. Number one, I think the most important question you ever ask yourself when you say, hey, how long should I keep the equipment, is ask yourself, who's the operator? If you're an owner-operator of that equipment, that's going to be a completely different answer than if you've got other people operating that same piece of equipment. It can be, that same 52-inch mower, that same 61-inch mower, whatever size equipment, doesn't matter. It could, or skid steer, or whatever, truck, whatever it is equipment-wise, when you're coming up with rotation, it goes to operator number one, okay? And then ask yourself a few other basic questions. One is, what are my annual use rates on that equipment? How am I going to depreciate it? Am I going to Section 179 out of it? What's my resale value going to be? And then where a lot of guys get messed up, and I used to be the same way younger, is there's not a happier day in your life almost than when you get a piece of equipment paid for, right? Whether it's a lawnmower or a truck or a skid steer, it's like, oh man, that thing's paid for. But the reality of it is, after that is, about the time you get them paid for, it's time for replacement. So let's try to figure out where that sweet spot is. Even if you're an owner-operator, for an example, that doesn't matter, other from the standpoint that, hey, owner-operators are generally going to take a little bit better care of the equipment. But what matters is, how many years are you going to keep it? How many hours a year are you putting on it? And what is potentially going to be the resale value of that piece of equipment? Because what generally we want to do is keep them too long thinking, oh, it's finally paid for, now I can make some money on it. Well, you should be making money on that piece of equipment regardless of how long you keep it, okay? You run a cost sheet on that equipment based on, hey, I'm going to keep it 2 years, or I'm going to be on a 3-year rotation, or I'm going to be on a 4-year rotation. That's why it's important to have a cost recovery process in place. And if you don't, that's something certainly we can help you with. It's simple. We got a simple know why you charge what you charge spreadsheet that will calculate your cost per hour of operation for any piece of equipment based on what you say the rotation is going to be on that equipment. In other words, 2 years, 3 years, 1,200 hours, 1,500 hours, 2,000 hours. That's how you determine how long to keep a piece of equipment, is what do you want to have as a resale value back on that equipment, and don't absorb the most expensive thing we have in our industry, and that's downtime. A lot of times by the time you get a piece of equipment paid for, you're out of warranty. Now if you got any type of wheel motors or hydraulic pumps, or that's when the major components start failing. A lot of times you're normally hitting the number of hours when some of those major components are going to fail. And not only the major component failure, but the downtime you're going to have trying to either work on it yourself or having to take it to a shop to keep it up and running. So what I found in my 46 years of experience is, I'm better off having like a 2 or 3 year rotation on equipment, knowing that, hey, I'm probably, unless it's a maintenance problem, I'm not going to have any major malfunctions in this equipment. So I'm not going to be having any major equipment repair bills if I'm getting rid of that machine within 15 to 1,800 hours. That's what we found works best. You may have found something different that works best, but at the end of the day, just know that the longer you keep it, the more hours you put on it, the more likely you are to have downtime and big repair bills. And by the time you go through those two things, you could have replaced it and stayed on the road and kept that equipment running and getting a better return on your investment. Hope that helps. Be sure to subscribe below. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll see you next time.